What's up, everybody? Welcome to the 3 and Out YouTube page. I'm John Middlekauff, and we are talking football all day, every day. Make sure you subscribe, like the video, share it with your friends. Let's roll, baby. Want to do a little overrated, underrated. Obviously, Atlanta, we just hit on. I never bought into it. I just refused to buy into it. And I feel more validated today. The hype on this team talking about like they were just going to win 12 games was crazy talk to me. Like Cousins and Raheem Morris were Bill Walsh and Joe Montana. I've been saying this for a while. I understand they played the Panthers, but I thought the Saints were underrated. Their defense is good. They have a really good defense. A huge part why they went 9-8 last year. If you have a good defense in college or the NFL, you are going to be competitive. But Derek Carr gets to play in the Shanahan system now. It is a very quarterback-friendly offense. It makes for easy throws. When you're running the ball well, which the Saints are going to be able to do, no team has more money invested into their running back room than the Saints. It's really easy to pass the ball. And Kubiak, whose dad played and coached for Mike Shanahan and then started Kyle's career, I would say might as well his last name be Shanahan. Knows this offense as well as anybody. Not named Gary Kubiak, Mike Shanahan, or Kyle Shanahan. This is going to work. They're going to be dramatically better on offense. Everyone thought they were going to suck. Like, I just did not get it. Like, Derek Carr has proven if you just give him solid coaching and a solid team, like, he can be competitive. He can be Kirk Cousins. But everyone act like Derek Carr was like Deshaun Watson or something. And today, I know he had a really good game, but I just mean over the course of the season, even if they win similar game, 9-10, like, they can win the division. The most overrated football team of the last 25 years consistently is Notre Dame football. One of the best things on the internet yesterday was Thomas Hammock, the coach at NIU. Turns out he actually coached for the Ravens for a while. Former running back at NIU. Had bounced around a little bit and has been their head coach now for several years. They got paid $1.4 million, like a lot of these games, right? You get paid between $1.2 to $1.8 million to go play one of the big boys. Because the big boys view it as a lock win. We get an easy 10, 20-point win, give you a check, win-win. He went in there and he won as a 30-point underdog. And listen, Notre Dame last week beat Texas A&M, who had a quarterback who could throw it about as well as me. And then to lose this game, Riley Leonard, I read a great article on him in Athletic, seems like a fantastic human being. And he's obviously a good runner. He couldn't throw. He couldn't hit water if he was in a boat in the middle of the lake. He's an awful thrower. And Notre Dame is just always so overrated. I mean, that program, the moment the Oregon game was on last night on Peacock, they're literally doing live Hard Knocks of Notre Dame. People want to anoint them. Like, I'll give the Cowboys credit. Like, at least they win their division and beat good teams throughout the regular season. Notre Dame last year lost to fucking Marshall. Or 2 years ago. And this year lose to NIU. It's got to be one of the worst losses in the history of the program. Absolute embarrassment. And no program, they got to just be the most overrated. They're still talked about like it's Lou Holtz, 1987. Like, no, guys, it's 2024. Your skill guys are never good enough. And maybe it's because of the academic requirements. They can't get in the guys to school like Ohio State or LSU or Alabama or whatever. Regardless, you don't have them. And they do. And to play NIU, who I guarantee if you had to do 1 through 50, an NFL GM on the rosters, there wouldn't be many NIU players picked. So just a horrendous loss. This guy was rated the most overrated player in the NFL by players. Might be one of the most egregious things in the history of the league. Tyreek Hill being number 1 overall in the players vote, a little crazy just because, like, how is Patrick Mahomes? But I think all of us would agree. Tyreek got a little Scotty Scheffler treatment today. I didn't know Tyreek, who I think I've seen on a podcast, said that he wanted to be a porn star when he was done playing. I think he has like 12 kids. He literally said that. He also wants to be a cop. And I think he said when he was getting arrested, he was telling the cops, like, I want to be a cop. Which, can you imagine Tyreek Hill when he becomes a cop and someone tries to run away? He's like, hey, I'll give you like a 10-minute head start. Just take off down the road. You're screwed. I'm going to get you pretty quick. He'd be a fast cop. But I get it. Tyreek, to me, is one of the best players of his generation, one of the greatest players I've ever seen. But people saying Josh Allen is overrated, are you guys on drugs? Are we watching the same stuff? Like, are we Josh Allen on the Bills? Is there another Josh Allen on another team? Is Josh Allen the guy does he play for the Panthers or something? Because the dude on the Bills is one of the best players I've ever seen. Easily. He's definitely one of the more physically talented players I've ever seen. And he wins. And he produces every single year. Today, they're getting their ass kicked by the Cardinals, who were just a tough team to play week 1 because of Kyler. It was like, yeah, I'll just figure out a way. I'll score 4 touchdowns. Break my hand, tweak my hand, whatever. Wrap that shit up. I'm ready to roll. Like, what are we talking about? Lamar Jackson has so many defenders. Every corner of the internet, every podcast, everyone's defending Lamar, which I get. I root for the guy too. I want him to get better, but he's a very flawed player for being a great player. A huge reason for his greatness. He's arguably the greatest runner we've ever seen at the position. But as a thrower, he's very hit or miss. Josh is an infinitely better thrower. And while he's not as fast as Lamar, he's got some Cam Newton to his running game. Running guys over, running over guys, an incredible red zone runner in terms of quarterback sweeps. Overrated? It's fucking laughable. Overrated. I had a little money on this game and it was tough. I'm not gonna lie, when Tyreek got arrested, I don't root for any of this stuff. But when you do have money on a team like I did with the Jags, and you see the best player on the other team get arrested, my first thought was, God, they're gonna win. He's not gonna play today. And then obviously cuffs off, he's playing, and by the middle of the game, he's hitting like a 70-yard bomb over the middle. I'm like, fuck. Doug Pederson today, and I still is Doug Pederson calling the plays? Is Press Taylor calling the plays? They were dominating that game. And in the second half, from their own 30, he went for it on 4th down. Now, Miami ended up missing the field goal, but the play call to do that, I'm all for being aggressive. I'm a pro-aggressive guy. Not Brandon Staley aggressive, but there are points in time, go for it. Totally get it. I can't get behind and understand the logic. I don't give a shit how many Harvard and MIT graduates that are handing you Excel spreadsheets that tell you to do stuff like that. If you don't get it, they have 2 incredible offensive weapons in Waddle and Hill. You're giving them the ball with 30 yards to score a touchdown. 30 yards. That's insanity. He missed the field goal. Ultimately, whatever. It didn't cost them points. They ended up losing the game. But that's a game that I don't know how Doug sleeps well at night. You cannot lose that game. You're killing them. And their offense just became putrid in the second. They couldn't move the ball. They have too many offensive weapons. You're paying your quarterback $200 million guaranteed. How can you not throw for 200 yards on the Miami Dolphins? And last, underrated. Honestly, didn't know much about this guy until last week when he scored 6 touchdowns. Well, last night, Oregon, Boise State was an incredible night game. It was on Peacock. They had like their C team there. It kept blacking out. Not an easy watch by any means. And I'm not anti-Peacock. I pay for it. But the Peacock game Thursday night or Friday night, who'd they play? Eagles, Packers. I was wrong on Jordan Love. Thought he rolled his ankle, tore his MCL or MCL sprain or whatever. He's out 3 to 6. So take the L on that. Maybe I'm not a good television doctor. But the Peacock broadcast, Oregon, Boise State, who I had a little money on Oregon because I thought they would. Oh, Boise State, great program, has never lost to Oregon. But like Oregon just got embarrassed against Idaho. I thought they would kill them. All of a sudden, Oregon's losing. And Boise State's running back, last year, his name's Ashton Jeanty, ran for about 1,350 yards, 6 yards per carry, 14 touchdowns, caught another 43 balls and 5 touchdowns. Some scouting buddies, I really like the guy. Last week, he almost ran for 300 yards and 6 touchdowns, but it was against Georgia Southern. against Oregon, he had 25 carries, 192 yards, and 3 touchdowns. I'm texting around. I'm like, is this guy going in the first round? And I had a buddy say, well, he's probably closer to 5'6" than 5'8". He's really small. So he's not a first rounder, but he is easily one of the best players in the country. So I Googled Darren Sproles, who, when he played for Kansas State, was also one of the best players in the country, but he was tiny. He went in and this guy is physical runner. He's fast. He can go outside, and he obviously can catch the ball. I'm not saying he's exactly Darren Sproles, but I think there are some parallels. Really small guy. Darren Sproles went in the 4th round. I looked yesterday. Darren Sproles played 14 years in the NFL. Not saying Darren Sproles should have gone in the top 10, but I promise you this. He probably should have been drafted in the 2nd round. And that's where this guy's going to go. So if you get a chance, Boise State's on, watch their running back. Because Ashton Jeanty, and I've watched a lot of college football these first couple weeks, I'm not saying he's going to get drafted the highest, but there can't be 10 better college players right now that play on Saturdays than that guy. So props to him. He's got 9 touchdowns. He has 9 He played 8 quarters of football. He has 9 touchdowns. Just an incredible effort so far. It was September 7th. It was September 7th, and he finished with 9 touchdowns. So maybe he can get to 30.